October 2025 ASRA Race of Champions at Daytona International Speedway. Got a lot to say about this weekend, not really sure how I'm going to say it. It's been a while since I made one of these videos, mainly because I have had a piece of shit GoPro the entire time, but I got footage from one of the Thunderbike races, and I'm also going to try to talk through the Ultralightweight Superbike race using the ASRA live feed, which was my one shot at a Daytona podium, and I came this close. I think if I had a little bit more experience here, I would have been able to play it correctly and actually pull off that podium, but I tried. So I will cover everything from the remainder of the season in another video, try to get you all caught up to date on it. If you know me, I've been switching between a couple bikes. This has been an action-packed year, but Daytona we had a couple goals. One of the main ones was bring home a good finish in the endurance race, try to bring home a GTL Lightweight Endurance Championship for Team Shaka Racing. We were able to do that. I was on the bike for most of it. And I had it in my head that I wanted to see if I would be able to get a podium in Ultralightweight Superbike. I chose to bring the SV650 down for a couple reasons. If you've seen me at the track, you know I have another bike as well. I did not feel comfortable bringing the Kramer 690 down for a couple reasons. One, I didn't think it'd be any faster. This bike, this SV, the bike that I just rebuilt the engine last winter. It has been consistently faster in a straight line than the Kramer has. Two, I didn't want to blow Kramer up. I can write this bike off for $2,500, hand somebody $2,500 and get the exact same bike. I can't do the same with the Kramer. And we also needed a lightweight endurance bike, and this was the obvious one. It's been a running joke that there's always somebody in my spot, and that happened again. So this is the ASRA Thunderbike race. I'll talk through it a little bit. I've been getting really good starts. All Daytona, I've been getting really good starts. I probably should have hit another gear up into fourth, but I'm telling you, everybody gets bunched up on the inside and they go way too slow. It's been pretty consistent that I was able to get 2 or 3 every time on one of these starts. So turn 3 here last year had given me a lot of issues. Just struggling to learn how to actually get slow enough and set the edge to really make that turn work. I'd always been overrunning it. So I'll get into a little bit more about the logistics about the entire weekend and about what led me to this point. This race is on Sunday. The racing started on Friday. There was a practice day on Thursday. We missed that. But so right now, this is the ASRA Thunderbike race. Most of the bikes are a little bit more powerful than my SV650. So stock bore, stock compression, they're the OEM pistons on this SV650. A couple, what did I do? I put a lightened flywheel inside of it. I put new valves inside of it. Basically, we're running with a Gen 1 SV650, but this bike is substantially stronger than it was here last year. It's not going to be worth it too much, but it's worth some. So we'll see. I got a decent jump out in front of these guys, but for the most part, I'm just going to get motored by every RS660 on the planet. I'm running a 1543 gearing here, and during this race, the wind's at our back on the back straightaway here. It had flipped from the previous day, so top speeds were much quicker the previous day. I was only able to push my own air to about 133, 134 miles per hour on Sunday, which this race is taking place on. I was able to push I was able to push to about 137, maybe even 138 on the previous day on that Saturday with this bike, which I hadn't been able to push over 133 in the previous year on the motor before I rebuilt it. So it did some good. I actually managed to hit a draft in GTL, and I think that's Ethan riding Chris's bike who just got past me, and so I see a little bit of the red mist. I want to be able to, I at least want to catch him through the infield before he runs and takes off again on the banking. But this is Ethan's 3rd time on the track. But I was actually able to hit a triple draft up to 144 miles an hour on this bike on Saturday, which is just freaking wild. That was on the AIM solo. That's crazy. Quickest I hit the previous year was 135. So, all right, I want to make sure by turn 6 I get up to Ethan's rear wheel, and then he can just go fuck off and go wherever he wants. So Ethan actually, yeah, he jumped on this bike Sunday morning, first time ever seeing the track, like in person. He's run a fair amount of iRacing on it apparently, but you know, being on a track in person on a bike is a little bit different than seeing it in the virtual world. And he did just awesome. Took home a couple amateur P2s in 2 of the 3 races that he ran. Turn 6 I'd struggle with. I was getting a little overzealous trying to keep with him, then needed to be cut back a little bit further. And then we just watched the RS660 go and fuck off. So why don't we tell you a little bit about how we got to this point, and then I'll talk a little bit more about my adventures on the track. So first time ever here was last year. I had mechanical issues starting on the Saturday of the race day, so I never really got a feel for what I actually could do on the track. Quickest I ever went was like I know I hit a 215 something, so I didn't think I'd be coming back to Daytona anytime soon. Chris, he's like, we're going again, and we committed to running the entire season, and Daytona's part of it, so we made it happen. It's a huge time commitment. I ended up flying down on Wednesday. We went and packed up the bikes on Sunday, and then the truck with the trailer they left Tuesday afternoon. Where this got really interesting was about 1 a.m. on Wednesday morning, that trailer ended up, they were going through a construction zone. They hit something and it just completely disabled the trailer by breaking the axle. It's now stuck in Kentucky. Chris and I are in Daytona. Aaron's in Daytona. He drove. And the rest of the guys are stuck in Paducah, Kentucky. We're all scrambling, trying to figure out how in the hell are we going to get these bikes here. And we're calling everybody we know, and it's not looking great. Trailer parts are 2 weeks out, so that clearly doesn't help us. And salvation came in the form of just an incredible racer family from the Midwest who took their time to get another trailer ready for us that would be able to fit the 5 race bikes and 2 pit bikes that we had. I didn't actually think the pit bikes would end up making it, but they did. They ended up fitting the trailer because it wasn't set up with Pitbull TRSs and everything. They set it all up with E-Track and whatnot, and then they drove it from Illinois. No, they might have drove it from Wisconsin to Paducah, Kentucky. That got there at like 10 p.m. Wednesday night. They did the trailer swap in the cover of darkness, moved everything over, and then Thursday, which was the Team Hammer practice day, that's the practice day for this event, which is an all-day practice day, expensive one. So the bikes didn't make it in time. We missed practice, but they got here at 6 p.m. We unloaded, somehow got all the bikes out, and the garage is closed right at 7. So no practice for any of us, but you know what? That's all right. We're going to make it work. Where that got interesting was the fact that the endurance race was the first race of Friday. So it's a 2.5-hour endurance race. I've got no practice. Nobody else in my pit or garage has any practice either, but they don't have an immediate race right away. Now, I haven't ridden this bike since July. Yeah, the last time I rode it was July. I was planning on running it at Blackhawk. I kept running into an issue where the bike kept cutting out. I figured out eventually it was the Woodcraft keyless ignition. But that was the last time I rode it, and then I drove home that weekend and grabbed the other bike. So I hadn't ridden it since then. It has been ridden by Chuck and Aaron. They took it out to West Virginia and competed in the 2-hour endurance race there, and actually took it home second. They wanted to kill me for a multitude of reasons, but I spent a lot of time making sure that the bike was all right and everything, and I run an incredibly soft setup, especially compared to what, say, Chuck would run, but I think Aaron runs a pretty stiff setup as well. I run an incredibly light rear shock. So, and then Ethan had ridden this bike on the August round of Blackhawk and had put in some just absolutely blistering times on it. I'm actually still pissed off on how well he did on that because he obliterated my personal best on this bike. But anyway, they took the setup on this thing even further to the stiff. And I got on the bike first practice. We only get 2 qualifying, so qualifying practice. I went I'm looking at my aim solo, 228, 226, 225, and then a 223. A Rascal scooter can go faster around here. It felt so fucking bad to me. I thought the tire warmers weren't turned on. Anytime I gave it gas, I thought it was just going to try to flip and spin itself out. It was so bad and so foreign to me. I hated it. So then I've got to put in a decent qualifying time. It's basically my qualifying time for the rest of the weekend. I worked with Mark to try to do is just undo everything that I thought that they had done to the bike. Main one being just crank the preload until you couldn't put preload into it anymore. So I tried to undo everything that they did to the rear end of the bike. Went out for what would be the last qualifying session on that Friday, the last session out before the endurance race, and ran like a 214. But the bike felt like a motorcycle that I had ridden before, and then I was fine with it. So qualified at like a 214 or whatever. That's fine. All right, good deal. Now, the endurance race was never supposed to be run by me. This was always supposed to be a Chris one, and I can't remember if Bruce was supposed to be riding on it, and I think Chuck was supposed to be riding on it. And we've had some injuries, some not really collateral damage, just damage. So we had a couple damaged riders that weren't going to be riding it this time. And it turned out Chuck and I were the only two that were going to be able to ride it. Now, 3 weeks ago, I was at urgent care because I tore my right calf, and my leg had swelled up so big I'd been on crutches for the previous 2 weeks getting around my house. I didn't know if I'd even be able to ride the motorcycle. Miraculously, it started feeling a whole lot better about a week before. I put off going to the urgent care thing because I don't like giving people money to tell me things that I already know, that I have a calf strain and it's a pretty bad tear. But it swelled up so big I was worried about a blood clot. They said no. They gave me the ultrasound. They're like, you have neither a pregnancy nor a blood clot inside of you, so you're good to go. And then I got the perfect physician, or whatever you call him, I don't know, doctor man. He's like, a lot of people would put you in a cast. I think it's actually better you get out there and go move around on it. And I didn't bring up motorcycles or anything, but it's like, what are the limitations and what is the risk of me, making it worse? He's like, as long as you're not, running upstairs or trying to lift, 200 pounds above your head, you're not going to hurt it more. So I was like, fuck it, we're going to Daytona. So during the practice sessions, we had no idea what the fuel consumption is going to be. This thing doesn't have a fuel gauge. It doesn't even have a working fuel light. Ever since I put that Woodcraft keyless ignition on there, it lights up. It just doesn't fucking do anything when you expect it to. So we had to take a guess at what our fuel mileage was going to be. We believed that we were going to be able to get 20 laps with about a liter left over. Running out of fuel would be really, really bad for us. So talking with Mark, listening to his advice, that guy tells me anything, I'm just going to listen to exactly what he says. You're talking to somebody who's won the Daytona 200 before and who has, competed in and done very well in many of these endurance events for the ASRA or CCS Race of Champions stuff. He tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. So we were going to run 19 laps. I was going to start on the bike because Chuck hadn't been on it yet, and then we were going to switch halfway through. Chuck would ride the middle, and then I would run the last one. And if the race went green the entire time, we would likely need kind of a splash and go, in which case I would just come down, we would just do a quick fuel, put enough in it to get to the end. So I was pretty nervous about doing this. So a lightweight bike, I'm maximum going 135 miles an hour, maybe 140 in the draft. You've got 1,000cc bikes out there. They're going to be, we could see it. I've been seeing it. They're they're over 200 miles an hour. And then you've got professional teams out there practicing for the Daytona 200 and whatnot. It's pretty kind of nerve-wracking. You don't want to be in somebody's way, but I also want to put in a good, account of myself. I need to use this as a practice because I came here to put a podium effort in Ultralightweight Superbike, and we got a lightweight endurance championship to win. So there's a lot riding on this thing. Also, it's on a bike that I put together, rebuilt. Is it going to make it this entire thing? I don't freaking know. It was a bit nerve-wracking, but we went out. First session or stint of the endurance race. We're on lap 17. I'm just about done with my first stint. I'm just about ready to get tapping my helmet to let them know that I'm going to be coming in within 2 laps. And we get our first red flag. So we come in. You can't switch a rider and fuel at the same time under the red flag. So it's like, hey, how are you holding up? I've only been on a bike for 42 minutes is my longest stint ever. That was at CMP. And I honestly felt fine outside of my left hamstring, that I had to keep grabbing the tank to not get blown off when I'm coming off the banking and back onto the front straight. Just doing a whole bunch of breathing exercises and like, fuck it, we'll just run me the double stint and then Chuck's going to finish it. So then an immediate red flag comes out on the first lap on the restart. It's a quick red flag, it's 8 minutes. So then I get back on it. About 11 laps in, I realize, let's just use this as practice. I hadn't been downshifting to second gear in actually this turn right here in turn 3. I do it and all of a sudden I'm a second quicker than I'd gone the entire time. Like, oh shit, I'm an idiot. So that was useful because I got down to like a 2:11 on that lap. Then I start cramping really bad. I'm seeing like lap 13, 14 on my thing. I'm like, I want to come in earlier. I hope they realize I am going to come in a little bit earlier because we didn't account for the 19 laps or the red flag laps on the 19 that we had talked about. So hopefully Chuck's ready. I'd never put my hand up on the front straight before. Holy shit, it just blows you backwards. I did it twice, missed turn 1 on both of those because I got so preoccupied with trying to signal. They saw it. They're like, we saw it. You don't have to go all nuts about it. But Chuck gets on the bike, runs for 10 minutes. I think he ran like a 15, then a 14, then a 13. He got down to a 2:11.86, which is 1/100th slower than me. And then ASRA, this pissed me off so much. ASRA called the race early. I know that they had about 4 bikes to go and pick up. It just sucked because we'd finally gotten our ace on the bike. Chuck should have had about a 45-minute stint. The race got called pretty damn early. I think it got called after an hour and a half, which should have been a 2.5 hour. But I think we would have had a shot at P4 had Chuck been able to run that thing out. We finished P5 of 9 bikes that were in our class and took the green flag. And Chuck finished, 9 seconds behind, and I lost us 8 seconds by not coming in a little bit earlier. I thought I had to hit a fuel number. Had I known that we'd be going a little bit shorter, I 100% would have come in earlier. But what are you going to do? I mean, guess what? Look at that. We won a trophy. So now this is the Ultralightweight Superbike race. I'm going to use the ASRA live feed. Hopefully this doesn't get my video taken down, but I'm doing this in good faith, guys. I promise. I just want to talk about it. I want to promote it. My GoPro didn't work for this, so I know Ultralightweight Superbike is the only one I could truly be competitive in. It's the only one I have an outside shot at a podium in. I am starting 7th. There is a ZX4 with a really damn good rider on it that's going to run away. There is another ZX4 with a really good rider on it that is probably going to join him. And then I believe there's going to be a gaggle of 5 of us that have a shot for that final podium spot. So I get my ass kicked most of the time in all the rest of the races I run. There's a horsepower disadvantage, but I've been making up some damn good time in the infield. I think I can hang with a couple of these bikes. So starting 7th, I've been getting good jumps all weekend. And this one is the race that I've been waiting the entire weekend for. It's the last race. I have a flight out of here in about 3 hours after this thing. And this is the one I've been putting a whole lot of pressure on myself for. I want to see how it goes. So looks like we're getting ready to get going. And I think I got another decent jump on this one. I think I get up into 4th place off the start here. And so quality's a little bit shoddy. Not shoddy, it's a little bit shaky, but I will try to run you through this. So I think I jump out, and I think I am in 4th place. So the 2 ZX4s are out front. I'm right behind another first-generation SV650 from a guy who has won this race, I think, several times in the past. And then the other bike that is going to come into this is a bike that I saw at CMP for the first time, which is... his last name is Agam. I think he's 13 or 14 years old, and he is on a NSF Honda, or a Honda NSF 250R, one of the little Moto 3 bikes, and he's a bit of a demon. So right now, I'm behind that other SV650. I think I lost the race right there by not pushing the issue into turn 6 and trying to get out in front. I'll come back to that in a little bit. I won't do this whole race. It does skip through some of it. So now I'm testing my speed versus his through the banking. I'm following right behind. I thought I had a chance to be able to draft by him. It didn't work, and end up following him through the chicane. We'll end up getting set up together. I don't have power over this bike. I think he and I, no matter who's right behind the other one, is probably going to be able to draft past the other one on the front straightaway each time. So you can see that little NSF 250R, he's caught us a little bit there. It's so funny when that thing's next to you. It's annoying in this race. It looks like a toy bike because it's about 3/4 the size of, you know, every other motorcycle out there. And you look at it, it's like, what in the hell's going on? That bike was as fast, if not faster, on the banking than both of the SV650s that I was on, and then the guy in front of me was on. I think he was in number 3 or number 5. So right now I'm getting passed by the NSF 250, and so I'm going to be in 5th place right now. And I've just seen that little guy is going to be able to get past me. Where it's a little bit annoying to run around him, not run around him and he's like, you know, unpredictable or something. I don't pick up nearly that much draft off of him as he does off of me. So even if I can get around him in the infield, which I have an advantage on him in the infield, it's pretty obvious. And I talked to his father after the race, and he said, yeah, you were going to have an advantage on the infield because he was struggling with turns 3 and 5 because of how they had to gear this thing to be able to get up to the speeds it was getting on the banking. It gave up a lot of acceleration coming out of those. So I always felt confident I'd be able to get around him if I had to in the infield. But so long as that SV isn't going to be running away from me right now, and we're going to be able to stick, I'm going to be able to stick in a threesome here. I have no intention of actually pushing the issue since I wasn't able to break out on the first lap. I'm going to try to stick with this and try to make a move to the front on the last lap of the race. So the wind had switched direction. I think I mentioned it a couple times, but I was able to hit about 137, 138, pushing my own air, over 140 in the draft on the previous days because the wind was at your back on the straightaway on the, you know, when you're going down the front straight. Since it had flipped, we're all running a lot slower speeds. So I was maybe hitting, what did we hit? Maybe 137 on this race. We're running about 211 5s for most of the race, and I'm backing off a fair bit in the infield, but I'm trying to figure out where am I going to be able to get around these guys. I don't believe I'll be able to draft past 2 of them coming to the line, or even on the last lap. I think I have to have at least one of them. I got to get past one of them in the infield before the last lap. So now that NSF 250 is actually moving up and around the other SV, and he's going into 3rd place. Now, if I see that bike starting to fly away, I got to get past the other SV. But he wasn't able to break far from the other SV at all. So I'm just comfortable in this spot, watching these two and putting together a plan for that last lap of the race. All right, so now we're coming up to the second last lap. I am looking at kind of doing a test pass on the other SV. I want to make sure that I am going to be able to pull this one off on the last lap when it becomes necessary. So you'll see me come around him a little bit. I'm not actually planning to pass him. I wanted to make sure that when it came to it, I'd be able to. And after that turn, I was 100% certain that next lap I could get past the SV650 into turn 1. So we just got to keep that little NSF 250 within reach. If he just goes and breaks away, then I'm going to have a big issue. I'm also starting to get nervous because it's starting, to weigh in on me, the gravity of this, that I have no idea how we're actually going to pull this off. Are we going to be able to draft past that little NSF 250 on this? If we can do it and pull it off, we're going to be able to take home a Daytona, podium in a club race, which would be just an incredibly cool experience. But I'm not sure if that's going to be able to happen. So, all right, we're going to jump forward. Here we go. White flag. We are coming to the white flag. All 3 of us are right next to each other. I am going to be trying to get around that SV650 here, going into turn 1. This is what I practiced the previous lap. I do get around him going into turn 1. Now it's on to the NSF 250. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with this, but I get such a good run through turn 3 and drive out of 3. I know I'm going past him, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's see if we can actually just run through the infield as quickly as possible and try to put as much space between us now and try to break the draft when we get to it. So I think you'll see it when we're coming out of turn 5. I probably have about a half second to 3/4 of a second. Turns out it's actually not going to be enough, but I don't know that at the time. I'm not looking back. I am just going to put my head down and try to get out of here as quickly as possible. So I'm out front now, so I've gotten around the 2 of them. And the 2 last important turns here. Turn 6, I have a decent 6 release here. And then the big one that's going to make or break this is, so what do you think? That's probably about 3/4 of a second I got there. I gotta get him. So, I mean, the big one's going to be the chicane. Can I get through the bus stop better than this kid? And he's also got the draft, and he's got that little bike, and I don't. He gets a big wind suck from me. I'm not going to get it from him. Also, he's a really, really freaking good rider. I got an okay bus stop. I didn't get the greatest one. I don't even know if it would have mattered if I got the best one of my life. Because Agam, he pulls up on that 250, and he's able to get me at the line. So you'll see it. The ZX4 just took it. He was running 207s most of that race. Yeah, I mean, he just crushed us. I think this is another ZX4. Actually, I think this is a guy that I raced against at, Ozarks. He put in another awesome run here. And then you'll see the 3 of us coming. Kenny's saying we lost a motor. The other SV is blowing the motor, and you can see I got beat to the line by the Agam number 42. And then I run right through the smoke and the oil from the other SV. So I'm trying to get up to him right now. I'm not like feeling anything slippery. I think we're looking at each other like you want to give him a fist bump for like great race, but I'm like, dude, you're shooting oil. Get off the track. I don't want to be an asshole, but you got to get off. Fuck, I wanted this one so bad. I have not stopped thinking about this race. I was the only one on the team that didn't bring home a piece of plastic. I didn't get a podium. I don't know when I'm ever going to have a chance to get another, shot at a Daytona podium, but I gave it everything I got, or everything I had. Tried like hell. I think with more experience, I would have been able to figure out how to navigate that one earlier. And I think what I needed to do was push the envelope a lot harder on lap 1 to see if I could have broken away at least for a lap or 2 with that second CX4, but it didn't happen. So that was Daytona for me, guys. Apologize on the lack of videos this year, but I will work to try to put together a season wrap-up. There's a lot to talk about, and congratulations to everybody on Team Shaka Racing that took home the #1 trophy in the Lightweight Endurance GTL Championship with ASRA in 2025. We came up with a plan that we were going to do it. We made all the events, and I think it was 5 riders, 3 different bikes, 2 of them SV650s, 1 of them an RS660, and we did it. So if you watched this far, thanks for watching.